Yo, what's going on YouTube? It is GZTV. I'm not necessarily in a rush, but I am also kind of in a rush at the same time. We are here with the ninth episode of You, the second to last one before the season finale. And obviously, knowing that there's no basketball tomorrow, you guys are going to get a double upload. I am grinding, guys. I am working my ass off to try to get some videos to work and try to have time to do other things. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be close, like tonight. I'm going to have to really fucking grind my ass off and get some shit done. But we're going to quickly just talk about this episode. Try to get it posted in the next like 30 minutes before I go to work. And yeah, let's go. So you pretty much did what everybody asked for to do. Get Beck and John Stamos to hook up, reveal Joe's deep dark secret to be something other than he murdered Candace, but it did it very much in not the way that you kind of wanted it to, but like, yeah, it's pretty frustrating like at times what this show did here. I don't really have the greatest things to say about this episode in particular. So Joe and Beck are back together, but their snuggles are disrupted by Joe's subconscious. He screams himself awake thinking of Candace, of course, like all the hallucinations, those are starting to kind of take shape for the story. After her oh so casual breakfast questioning of Joe, about Candace, Beck, duly unsettled by Karen's warnings, begins her own little investigation into this mystery of Joe's past. A big part of what makes this frustrating is that this information is readily available. It takes almost no effort to find, but still brings back to a bunch of literally dead ends. So, yeah, it's kind of disappointing. While she spies it up on Instagram, Joe goes back to his wildly unprofessional therapist, who is taking a volatile personal call while Joe is sitting right there. Where did they find this guy? Where is this guy? Like, how do you even find this guy as a therapist and decide to fucking hire him? What the hell, man? I hope some of this is covered by insurance, because wow, this guy's not fucking helping for jack shit. Anyway, Stamos tells Joe, "We are the architects of our own dreams," which is very cliche, and Joe needs to address his unfinished ex business before it eats his soul alive or whatever. I don't know. You gotta confront your demons. It's a pretty common trope in therapy. So now we finally get those long awaited Candace flashbacks. You know, um, as I understand it, the deal is that, the shark in Jaws, for example, is actually scarier before you see it. Candace was a lot more interesting before you actually kind of get to know her. Um, she could have been anyone. She could have been Joe's secret half sister who went insane when she discovered the true nature of their relationship. She could have been a criminal mastermind who fleeced Joe for all he was worth and then tore off to Italy to scam a new mark. Make her a descendant of the Romanovs, or for all I fucking care. Instead, she's just a collection of stereotypes with red lipstick on, which, remember, is the color of harlotry in the world of you. Which, yeah, they've discussed that, I guess. If we're supposed to believe she's got a monopoly on Joe's psyche, she should at least get a personality. She's pretty fucking basic, and maybe the fact that she was basic, and maybe the fact that she cheated on him made him this kind of egotistical character. But I don't know, man. It's really hard to justify her character on the show. Promiscuous musician is not really a personality. Being in a band called Heathcliff's Misery, which is extreme eye roll worthy, is also not a personality. She and Joe never seem all that close, even when they are together. It doesn't even really seem like a relationship. I don't know if it's the acting. I don't know if it's the dialogue. He doesn't realize she never loved him, as she'll later shout in his face, but everyone else who ever saw them could have clued into that fact. I mean, I feel like she was just trying to make appearances for him so she didn't seem like a shitty person and, cover her life or something. I don't know what is going on with that. Her cheating is so flagrant, it's like she didn't care whether or not she got caught. This is the woman Joe is still obsessed with. This is the woman he's still having hallucinations about. It really doesn't make sense. There's a lot of inconsistencies here. Apparently, because as Beck discovers, Joe was wrecked when things ended with Candace. Though I take it we're to think that what really messed Joe up is that, in a fit of rage, he shoved Elijah, the requisite skeevy record exec who quite plausibly says he had no idea Candace had a boyfriend because she literally never mentioned Joe, off a building to his death. And that adds to the fact that, like, are they really a fucking couple? Like, it didn't even seem like it. They didn't even appear like that. Joe fled the scene of his whoopsie to the home of Mr. Mooney, abusive bookshop proprietor, where he hid out for a week until it all blew over. They never, suspected him to do it? I don't know. Joe methodically takes apart 2 copies of Wuthering Heights, so the dedication page from Candace's copy ends up in the garbage, and a different whole copy goes on the discount pile for symbolism reasons, for alpha male reasons. Beck follows the Candace breadcrumbs first to Ethan, who advises her to let this go, which is pretty bad advice, and then to Maddie, the mutual friend from Peach's parents got divorce party, #neverforget, who confirms that Candace was having sex with the label guy who signed her and then ghosted everyone she knew when she ran off to Italy. Candace has no family save for a brother Jimmy, who Beck tracks down at the Hartley Psychiatric Center, but instead of giving, some creepy vibes, Beck just gets a receptionist who tells her Jimmy died 6 months ago. And instead of something twist-worthy, instead of something interesting, it's like, oh, he died 6 months ago. A good rule of writing for a show like this should be, think of the most bonkers and credible thing that could happen, and then do that thing. Don't tiptoe up to the thing. Jimmy thinks Candace is dead, but he was institutionalized by Candace, and nobody believes him, but also nobody has heard from her in a year, only to have that thing resolve itself off-screen with an climactic phone call. That said, it is fun to watch Beck go from stalky to stalker, and the information she discovers about Joe becomes more and more chilling. Her choices make less and less sense. If you think there's even, let's say, 25% chance that her boyfriend is a murderer, why would you go to his apartment totally alone without telling anyone else where you're going? You have, bad news. That's her suspicion. It's not that, oh, she cheated on him and, she thinks he killed her. Come on. Why wouldn't you insist on the meeting taking place in public with at least one friend by your side? Didn't Beck want to at least swipe a gun from Peach's abandoned belongings for this adventure? I say if you have a hunch your boyfriend is a murderer, at the very least, you spend the night at a friend's house. I don't know what the hell Beck was thinking here. She made so many dumb decisions this episode, it's almost hard to count. But no, Beck goes to Joe's place having taken 0 precautions, and Joe proceeds to gaslight her. Candace changed her name. Beck, that's a pretty red fucking flag, and Joe shows Beck her new Instagram, which is as basic as her old one. I love that the real alarm doesn't go off for Beck until she puts this together. Who moves to Italy and doesn't post any pictures? Beck, women who are trying to not be found by their insane exes. Maybe. Beck's heart knows that Joe can never homicide. Oh, you're just not the type of guy. Just have that classic talk, Joe admits he never went to Italy, and then he takes Beck to Mr. Mooney's place, where Mr. Mooney has conveniently suffered a stroke that leaves him incapable of speech. 100% chance Joe pushed him down the stairs, right? In a flashback, we see how Mooney encouraged Joe to feel no remorse for his extra unnecessary killing, because men, they go off to war, kill people every day, then come back and get on with their lives. I guess that makes sense. What the fuck, man? You're really using this guy as a pawn to, justify this? Who knew sharing my darkest secrets would make me feel so light? Joe asks in the narration, to which you'd think everyone. At this point, Joe declares that he knows something crucial. There is no Emma Fox from Brown. He attacks John Stamos, forces him to unlock his phone, and his darkest fears are realized. They were having an affair. He wasn't fucking crazy. Which, okay, there's so many questions. First up, why take something as not relevant to the story as Claudia's relapse and give it approximately 1,000 hours of screen time, while Beck and Stamos' client therapist sex sessions get the speedy, quick supercut treatment? Also, once Beck started screwing her therapist, she kept seeing him for therapy? She didn't think this guy has no boundaries and maybe I should get my actual mental health care from a better provider? She didn't think that? I don't know. It's a lot of questions. A lot of interesting character choices here, but I guess that's the show, just trying to stick true to the characters. Joe word vomits his horror at Beck, trotting out his classic virgin horror hangups. He's been defiling you. Who won the tug of war for Joe's fragile soul? The sincerity with which Joe asks, are you or were you ever fucking your therapist? With his veins doing that pop out of his forehead. Beck confesses, but she sweeps it over and she says the magic words, I love you. Enough times to make Joe cry, smile, and hug her again. Oh, it's fine, I fucking cheated. We can just get right back together, because that is exactly how relationships work if you guys have watched enough movies. Come on now. At this point, I'm concerned for everyone involved, based on what's happened here. So while Joe fetches breakfast after his first dreamless sleep in weeks, the stairwell urchin pops over to 1. Commit to this thing of not talking to Joe, and 2. Let Beck know that you can hide things in the loose ceiling tile in the bathroom, and Beck finds everything. Paco pretty much inadvertently snitches on Joe here. It's a fucking crazy turn of events. I do like that detail. I do like that things are starting to get interesting for the show in that aspect. The shit he stole from her apartment, including her underwear, Peach and Benji's phone, a little jar of teeth. Big year for hiding your murder victim's teeth, I guess. This is why you always take your phone with you when you pee. For this very specific but dangerous emergency. Also, just a little side note there. Joe quickly realizes something is off, and it's here Beck's desire to maintain the appearance of everything being cool totally does her in. You gotta get out of there. Don't try to seem polite. When Joe slams the door on her, it's a gasp-worthy moment. It's pretty fucking crazy. We are back where we should have realized we were headed all along. Beck is trapped in the soundproof book dungeon. She is screaming and no one can hear her. And because Blythe made her get off social media, no one will even find this absence suspicious. How long will it take her self-absorbed friends to figure out she's MIA? Will the douchey guy, Lynn's words, that Peach's family hired to look into her death be her savior? Or, my fervent hope, my only prayer, is Ethan the knight we've been waiting for? There's a lot of different stories, there's a lot of different approaches I feel like the show could take with this, and I'm not necessarily sure what they're going to do, but that is going to do it, guys. Really good episode here. Obviously, the way they handled this whole situation of them, spying on each other and finding out things of each other, unlike Beck's approach, it seems pretty dumb, it seems pretty anticlimactic, but overall, I think the end sequence kind of makes up for that in some sort of way. So I'm going to get these clips together, we're going to put them on CapCut, I'm going to export it, make the thumbnail, do a bunch of stuff. Hopefully I can get this video out to you guys in time. I am going to be fucking speed running this process, because I only have 18 minutes, which, to be fair, I don't really edit these videos that much, but yeah. Today I think we're watching The Devil's Backbone, and then we're watching another episode of You. So it's going to be a grind, guys. We got to get fucking going. Before vacation, we're cramming videos, and I mean cramming them. So we'll have to figure out what Friday videos are going to be. I kind of have content lined up for the rest of the week, but Friday is going to be a concern. So leave a like, comment, subscribe. As always, this has been your boy GCTV, giving you guys TV show content, review content. I've done so many series. If you want to look through my channel, I need to start making playlists. I know that, but yeah, guys, I'm out.